Welcome. If you enjoy this type of content, then subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our latest and greatest uploads. Born as Christopher Wallace on May 21st, 1972, in Brooklyn, New York, Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious B.I.G, became a drug dealer at a young age. He started experimenting with music as a teenager, and not long after, befriended Sean Puffy Combs. His 1994 debut album, Ready to Die, was a smash hit, and his long-running feud with fellow rapper Tupac Shakur helped to shape his career. Biggie was killed in Los Angeles on March 9, 1997. The early years. American hip-hop star Biggie Smalls was born as Christopher George Latore Wallace on May 21, 1972, in Brooklyn, New York, in the neighborhood of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Biggie, or the Notorious B.I.G, as he'd later become known, experienced a rough childhood. At an early age, he was surrounded by drug addicts and dealers. As a result, by his early teens, Biggie had joined the life that was all around him. "Hustlers were my heroes," he once said. "Everything happened on the strip I grew up in. It didn't matter where you went. It was all in your face." At the age of 17, Biggie was arrested for selling crack and spent 9 months in a North Carolina prison before making bail. As he navigated his young, uncertain life, Biggie started making music. He hooked on with a crew called the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 Brothers and began experimenting on his own. Commercial success. Around his neighborhood, Biggie Smalls, as he called himself then, began building a reputation as a musician. After a tape of his landed in the hands of Mr. C, a well-known DJ, Smalls was featured in the hip-hop publication The Source. The article was enough to catch the attention of Sean Puffy Combs, a young producer at Uptown Entertainment, a New York-based label specializing in hip-hop and rhythm and blues. When Combs split off from Uptown to start his own label, Bad Boy Entertainment, he brought Smalls with him. Immediately, the Notorious B.I.G, as he now called himself, got to work, appearing on a 1993 remix of Mary J. Blige's single Real Love, and followed it up with a second Blige remix, What's the 411? His debut as a solo artist came with the single Party and Bullshit on the soundtrack to the film Who's the Man in 1993. In 1994, the Notorious B.I.G released his debut album, Ready to Die, which told the story of his life, from drug dealer to rapper. Backed with hits like Juicy and Big Papa, the record went platinum, and the young hip-hop artist became a full-fledged star. That same year, The Source named him the Best New Artist, Best Live Performer, and Lyricist of the Year. As his star power increased, Biggie did his best to share his prestige. He backed the work of several rappers that he'd originally performed with while starting out in Brooklyn, and took to the studio in support of other artists on Sean Puffy Combs' label. He also teamed up with such stars as Michael Jackson and R. Kelly. By the close of 1995, Biggie was one of music's best-selling and most sought-after performers. By early 1997, Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie Smalls or the Notorious B.I.G, was seeking to squash the East Coast-West Coast rap feud that many felt had fueled the September 1996 murder of his friend-turned-rival Tupac Shakur, now the father of a young son and recently removed from a car accident that had left him using a cane to walk. Wallace was determined to see his dreams through as he finished up his sophomore album for Sean Puffy Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Life After Death. He traveled to LA to shoot the video for its lead single Hypnotize in February 1997 and stuck around for the Soul Train Music Awards, sitting for interviews in which he expressed sadness at Shakur's death. Despite his efforts at peacemaking, the LA music crowd gave the Bad Boy contingent a cool reception when they appeared on stage at the March 7th awards show, with Wallace stepping forward to booing when he announced Toni Braxton as the winner of Best R&B Soul Single. Wallace made a last-minute decision to leave the safety of his hotel. With an originally planned trip to Europe canceled, Wallace found himself with little to do at the Westwood Marquis Hotel on March 8th. According to Vibe, he spent much of the day with his agent Phil Casey discussing plans for an upcoming tour. Itching to get out, the rapper convinced his boys to head to an industry party at the Peterson Automotive Museum in the Miracle Mile District, co-sponsored by Quincy Jones' Vibe magazine. As Combs later recounted, attending a Jones party on the outskirts of Beverly Hills seemed a safe enough move, and for a while it was. Although several known gang members had managed to infiltrate the guest list, the overall vibe was said to be a happy one. Wallace drank Dom Perignon with his crew and soaked in the adulation alongside fellow artists like Aaliyah and Missy Elliott. The speakers pounding out "Hypnotized" every 10 minutes or so. I was throwing paper at him, telling him how much I liked his record, recalled then Def Jam CEO Russell Simmons. I told him I wanted to be like him. He was so cool, so funny and calm. However, the venue soon became a little too cramped, and at around 12:30 a.m., the fire department shut down the festivities. The rapper was ambushed at a red light. Wallace and Combs trickled out with the rest of the partygoers, pausing to pose for pictures before cranking up a car stereo to blast some tracks from Life After Death. Deciding to head back to their hotel, Combs jumped into the first of 3 cars with several bodyguards. Wallace settled into the front passenger seat of the second, a green GMC Suburban next to his driver, Gregory G. Money Young, with 2 more friends in the back. Combs' lead SUV promptly blew through a yellow light, leaving Wallace's group idling at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue. Suddenly, a white Toyota Land Cruiser made a U-turn and tried to squeeze in the space behind the green Suburban. At that moment, a dark Chevy Impala pulled up next to Wallace. The driver, an African-American man in a blue suit and a bow tie, made eye contact with the rapper before reaching over and emptying his automatic pistol at the car. Amid the commotion, the shots were fired mere yards from the crowd outside the museum. The shooter sped off on Wilshire. Meanwhile, Combs abandoned his SUV and raced across the street to the green Suburban, where he found his friend hunched over, his tongue out, and bleeding on the dashboard. He died shortly afterward. Notorious B.I.G. died shortly afterward, despite near immediate medical attention. A driver floored it to the nearby Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where 6 people managed to lift the almost 400-pound rapper onto a gurney and send him in for emergency surgery. But despite the quick medical attention, the 4 bullets had already done their fatal damage, and 24-year-old Wallace was pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. at a time when his family, friends, and associates expected to be celebrating another milestone. They instead found themselves processing his stunning loss. 1 week after Wallace's March 18th funeral, Life After Death debuted to great acclaim, en route to a spot among the top-selling rap albums in history. Wallace's murder sparked a controversial investigation and a wrongful death suit filed by his mother against the city, but as with Shakur's, it remains unsolved. A sad reminder of the artist's noble but unsuccessful attempt to end the violence before it made him a victim. And with that, we've reached the end of this video, all about Notorious B.I.G.'s murder. If you enjoyed it and you found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.